Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's Microsoft Excel VBA video, we are going to discuss about the events in Microsoft Excel. So up till now, what we have been learning through VBA was through macros. That is, we got to insert a module in the VBA editor, and then on the basis of that module, we added some sub procedure, and on the basis of that sub procedure, we wrote our code, and when we run that sub procedure, then that code was executed. But in today's video, we are going to learn about the events. So first of all, let us understand that what is an event. Suppose this is your Excel screen actually. Then if I click on this cell, then what happens is this cell is clicked, and that is an event, which means whenever the user is interacting with the computer, then the user performs some actions, and those actions are treated as events for the computer. Like if I just go to this cell and I just double click over here, then what happens is this double click is an event for this cell. If I just go to this cell, I click on this cell, then this is an event for that particular cell. So clicking and double clicking are just examples. There are a ton of events that are possible. Like key press is an event, key down is an event, key up is an event, and so on. There are many events. So in this video, we are going to see that how can we actually handle or work with these events in Microsoft Excel. The reason why we are doing this is because these events have an utmost importance whenever we are working with forms. And forms are something which we are going to start from the next video onwards. The forms are basically used to interact with the user. Actually, I'm not going to just go into the deep about the forms because that's the topic for the next video. So let's just understand about the events. So how can we handle or write the code for the events? So what you got to do is bring up your VBA editor, and right now I'm in sheet 7. So what I want is I want to write some code, or I want to handle the events for this sheet 7. So what would I be doing is in this project explorer, I would go to the sheet 7. When I just double click on it, then the sheet 7's code pane would be open like this. Okay, let's just extend it. So this is sheet 7's code pane. How can you cross check it? You can simply go to this title where it's written sheet 7, and in the brackets you can see code is written, which means this is the code window or sheet 7. So when you are in sheet 7, then you need to start working on the events, and whatever code for the events you write in this window would be actually only for this sheet. Like if you write some code for sheet 7, and then this code would not be used in any other sheet, it would exclusively be used in this sheet only. So let's start. You can see there are these two drop downs. One is this general drop down, which is for object, and then there is this declarations drop down, which is for procedure. So we are going to use these two. If we just use this drop down, so the first thing you have got is a worksheet. So let's just select worksheet as an object. As soon as you do that, you will get something like this: private sub worksheet underscore selection change, and there are some parameters and end sub. So you can know that this is actually a sub procedure in Visual Basic. So that is a sub procedure. That's correct. That's absolutely correct. So private means that this sub procedure would only be associated with this particular worksheet, and it would not be used in any of the worksheets. Now worksheet object means that this is an event of which object? This is the event of worksheet object, and this selection change is actually the name of the event. That is, this event, whatever code we write in this sub procedure, would be triggered when the selection is changed in the worksheet. And since the worksheet is composed of cells, that means whenever there is a change in the selection of the cells, then this event would be triggered, or this event would be fired. Okay, so that is actually the amount of the information which we get from here. This is only one event, selection change. If you just go to the second drop down, you can see there are a bunch of events, and these are actually all possible events which you can code for. Like here you can see activate, before delete, before double click, before right click, calculate, change, deactivate, and so on. There are these tons of events. Okay, So let's just create some code for this sub procedure, that is for selection change. What I want is whenever the selection is changing or whenever we go to a particular cell, I want its background color to change to something else. Okay. So we know that in order to change the background color, we need to write that cell name dot interior dot color equals to, and then we need to write the color. So we need to specify that particular cell through either a range function or through the name of the cell. But we do not know right now, we do not know here that what cell the user is going to click. So we cannot specify a particular name of the cell. We want that particular cell which is clicked, that cell's color to change. So that is why we have something in VB known as target. Whenever we write target, means whichever cell is clicked currently, it would be the target cell. And what operations we want for the target cell, I want its interior dot color to change to say VB cyan. And apart from that, I also want target dot value to be like events. Within double quotes I need to specify events. Okay, so that's the code we have written. Now actually there is no need to run it because it is not a macro. This is an event, so we do not need to run it. Once you have done this, you can either minimize this VBA window or you can just close it. So I'm going to minimize it. Since it is in sheet 7, so when we just click on any cell, and you can see we got this cyan background hidden events. You can click on any number of cell and this event would be triggered. Similarly, you can click on a bunch of cells, like you can just click this and all these events are triggered right here. Okay, you can just actually fill it up with all this, all events. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how the selection change thing works. If you go to any other sheet, this is sheet 4, and if I just do it over here, then nothing happens. Why? Because the sub procedure was private to sheet 7. In order to work it for sheet 4, we need to copy it and paste it in the code pane of sheet 4, then only it would work. So that was about a single event. Let's just work upon another event. So let's just bring up VBA. And again in sheet 7 only we are working with event. If you want, you can work with the different sheets. I'm going to work in the same sheet itself, and this time I'm going with before double click, which means what happens if I double click on a cell, then what event I wanted to trigger. If I just double click on the cell, then what I want is for the target dot let's just see that what we want. Okay, so I want target dot clear contents. That's what I want whenever I double click on the cell. So if you just double click here, its contents are cleared. Like you just double click, double click, double click, its contents are cleared, which means that whatever is written, that is events was written, so it is cleared on double click. So that's how you can handle another event. You can see this cannot work for multiple cells actually, because you need to double click on a individual cell at a time. And now if you just select the cell, if you single click it, then you will get the cyan and events. If you just double click, then events will go off like this. Okay, so that's how the events work. And we discussed about 2 events. If you want, you can work with these multiple events over here. And one more thing, the events that you select, we just coded for before double click and we coded for selection change. So both of these events are actually bolded, which means that VB recognizes that yes, we have coded for these 2 events. So that's how it works. That's how you can work with the events. That was for the worksheet events. And similarly, you can code for as many events as you want. Suppose you want to work with calculate event, so you can just add calculate event and code anything that you want. So that was all about the events that you need to know in VBA. And that is all for the video. I hope you all have enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.